Hi everyone, it's Carrie again. Today's topic is something that I learned with the 365 days that I pretty much sat in solitude. No TV, no social media, just in that period of self reflection. It was basically how to become a warrior. I did not know I was going to be learning that. I did not know that I needed to be one. But during the course of it, I learned it's a necessity. And it's a necessity really for all of us. Um, So I jotted down some really important notes that helped me really self-reflect on how I became a warrior. And there's no doubt about it. I'm a standalone warrior, and um, I have the greatest defenses of all time. And I'll get into that and how that came about. Um, Being a warrior, now the first thing you're thinking about is probably like the military, being trained to go into battle, fight a war, a physical war. That is not what being a warrior is. Every single one of us, I mean, in one aspect it is, I guess, but every single one of us needs to be a warrior in our own right. And a lot of times we're seeing right now, sometimes with racism, sometimes with political agendas, that there's a lot of civil wars going on just in our own um, society. And, I'm based in the United States, so I have more knowledge of our culture than others. So I apologize if I'm excluding some others, but I'm sure you can relate it to whatever personal wars or civil wars are going on in your society. So try to translate as best as possible if you can. It's to me, being a warrior is more about beating great odds, fighting life's obstacles. Every day we get up and every night we go to sleep, there is some obstacle, some barrier, whether we can't sleep at night because we're riddled with anxiety or even excitement for that matter. Like the night before Christmas for a child, that excitement is a great obstacle for them to get the sleep and the rest that they need for their body to have what it needs to continue and sustain. However, being a warrior means beating those things, being able to conquer that just in your own life. The more we can conquer, the more mental aptitude and strength that we have in ourselves and conviction to be able to go out and lead decent lives in a peaceful way. Okay? Being a warrior doesn't mean drawing your sword or turning your tongue into a sword every time somebody disagrees with you or you have a soapbox moment. Okay, that's not a true warrior. A true warrior fights with peace. And they're not always pulling out their sword. No, are there moments that you need to defend yourself or your position and your back is up against a wall? Absolutely, and you have to fight a little bit of a different battle that way. But a true warrior doesn't just go into battle drawing their sword saying that's it. This isn't like the Viking times where they went in and plundered and took everything from people. Hopefully we live in a little bit of a better society than that, but based on riots from the past, I don't know that a whole lot has changed. When we're ready to just take what we want as a society, we seem to do it. I'm not saying everybody, and but I'm hoping we can all learn something about this. um, Even like Martin Luther King, he was a great warrior. He knew how to use peace to bring peace and to awaken us in a way to a different thought pattern. Get out of our shell of what we've confined ourselves in as far as belief systems and how to treat other people. Okay. Um, those are great warriors. Now, he stood for peace, so it's hard to think of it as war. He was fighting a war. He really was. So that's just, one example of many that you can use in our history where they chose to fight these battles, but in a very peaceful way. And a true warrior is going to do that first before they draw their sword. They want to negotiate, they want to compromise, but there's only so much of that that can be done. Sometimes you have to stand for what is right, but it's not about the pursuit of killing and tearing people apart and shredding them and making sure that your personal agenda is the only one out there. Um, Using Martin Luther King again as an example, there it couldn't just be one way. He had to compromise on things and use his words wisely. John F. Kennedy is another president that knew how to use words to try to resolve problems versus anger and fighting and those types of things. And a true warrior has fought that battle within themselves to learn how to do that. And it's a battle. Our first gut instinct as human beings is to just attack. Okay, it's our defense mechanism of, oh, wait a second, this is wrong, and boom, we want to go out and we want to attack our enemy and we want to eliminate them and delete them so that there's no issues and there's no problems. The problem with that is, are we taking everything into perspective, or have we sheltered our thoughts into our own one belief? And that's what we're going to fight for. A true warrior looks at all sides. They don't just jump into war, quickly. Any president can probably tell you, they can't just hit the button and just jump into war. And a lot of times we, as humans say, Americans especially, we're angry about something that was done. We just immediately want to go to war. Get rid of them. Get rid of the problem. And we can't understand why it takes so long. Or sometimes we can't understand why we go to war. It's like, why are we, doing this? We're wasting money. We're wasting time. Where people are dying. It's because those people have to sit down and take a lot of different things into perspective before they make those decisions. We would love to just be able to snap our fingers and make a quick decision, but that is not what a true warrior does. A true warrior sits down and evaluates everything. They have a strategy. They have a perfect game plan. And that perfect game plan isn't going to be perfect because nothing is. So they also have to take the time to come down with plan B, plan C, plan D. What if, what if, what if? This is not something that people can do at the snap of a finger. Okay? So it is being able to restrain yourself and really sit back. And even though your mind is going to take you to your first thought and the first thing you want to jump to, being able to restrain and pull back and say, okay, wait, what am I missing here? Is there something I'm not thinking about? Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Do all those kinds of things. Empathy is a beautiful, beautiful gift. And I feel like we're losing a lot of it in our society because we've become a me society. A warrior doesn't necessarily fight for themselves. They are fighting for more than just themselves. They have no personal agenda. It's about the betterment of all. So if they're really going to take on a battle, they're going to take it on for, sometimes it doesn't even benefit the warrior at all what they're fighting for. They're fighting for others that need their help. So a true warrior is far from selfish. Okay, they're not thinking about themselves the vast majority of the time. We like to call these kind of people heroes. Okay, they will risk their lives. They will put themselves out there and risk everybody hating them, for something that they really have thought about, they've got conviction about, and a lot of times it doesn't even benefit them at all. That's a pure true warrior. That is somebody who wants to see good in the world, and they're not fighting because it's a bad, evil thing. And they're fighting for something true. But each one of those people knows something that I'm about to tell you. Because so far we're talking about surface coating, a lot of the outside, and a little bit of mental, but most of it the outside. A true warrior has sat down and in great tragedy and trauma I sat down and been able to say, okay, I can't change what has happened. This terrible, horrible thing has happened. I can't change that. I also can't live in the moment of it every day. I have to get past it. In order to get past it, they're the type of people that can say, out of this terrible thing, what one good thing can I take out of it, put in my toolbox to use in the future, and take this bad experience and turn it into something good. I often relate it to how I feel about, God in the Bible, where God's not going to stop Satan from doing what he's going to do. And because we're human, we tend to want to follow and do what's fun and what's easy. So, of course, that's always Satan's way. Satan's going to just give us all these lovely little temptations. No, they're just so wonderful, and this is so much more fun, and this is what I'm going to do. So, we tend to, because we're weak in the flesh, follow Satan quite often. Evil, terrible things can come out of that, even though that wasn't our intention going in. We did not realize it was going to lead us to the path we ended up on. Once you're so far down that path, getting back is really hard. Ask any addict. it's a struggle to get back to where they even were so they can try to start over. And a lot of times they can't get back. They have to try to start over from the terrible place they're at. And this is typical. Ask any parent that has lost a child due to an accident, something maybe they accidentally did or had nothing to do with them. That great tragedy left a hole in them. And some hold a lot of guilt and burden because of how they feel from that loss. And that loss can never be healed, so to speak, because they can't bring that child back from the dead. They can't go back and change that moment in time. They will live with that forever. The only way to really live with it and make that child's life worth living the little time they had is to take the silver lining and turn it into something good. A lot of times you will see parents that lose their child due to like cancer or some terrible illness. They'll build foundations. They'll try to help other children. They're not going to let their child's life go to waste. They're going to do something good out of it. And then, yes, they do have to live with that memory every day of their life because they're using that memory to do something good. Same thing God does when we're on the path and we're doing evil things. And we do. We're evil, we're sinful, terrible people. Plain and simple. I'm a Christian. I'm still a sinner. That doesn't stop me from sinning. I have to try to realize when I'm sinning, and I have to try and fight those urges and do the best I can. But I'm human. It's going to happen. And then I have to learn forgiveness, even to forgive myself, which I still struggle with on the daily. I always will. But God is going to take those evil things. If we give them to Him, He's going to turn it into something beautiful. He takes what Satan does and he turns it around on Satan and says, okay, you caused all this destruction. You made these terrible things happen. Watch me turn it into something good. And He will. He has to usually wait till it's happened and then He turns it around. A true warrior does that. A true warrior says, this is horrific, this is terrible. I can't fix the situation, whether it's in their life or somebody else's life. But they will do everything in their power to take that bad and turn it into something good. They'll find the silver lining. And in the vast majority of cases, that silver lining is really hard to find. And even though you find it and you look at it and you go, okay, well, there is one decent thing I can take out of this. Sometimes we don't want to move forward. We don't want to even take that thing and make something good out of it. We tend to live in our own misery, in our own pain, because if we let go of that pain, it's like letting go of the situation. And the vast majority of the times we don't want to let go of that. Ask anyone who's been in a broken relationship where you really loved somebody and that person didn't love you back, and you could have been with them for 20 years, and you suddenly realize they didn't have the love for you ever had for them, and you lose your home, you lose your children, you lose, you could lose everything in a situation like that, and you're sitting there with nothing. I was there. I know. And great loss and great pain. And if we have to let that go and we have to make something good out of it, it's like saying it was okay to go through that it was okay that person put you through that. Or it's letting go of them finally and the situation and saying, I have to move on. We wanted that so bad. It was our personal desire. We don't want to let it go. We are hoping and praying and fighting with everything inside of us that it comes back, that we get all that back. We're not realizing what we had wasn't good for us to begin with. A true warrior faces defeat. They will lose many battles. Many. But what the true warrior knows is, I can lose all the battles. What's important is that I win the war. There's only one win that counts, and that's the war. So beating all those battles against Satan, for example, we're going to lose, we're going to lose, we're going to lose. It's beating it in the end. That's what matters. And a true warrior knows that. They refuse to accept defeat. And defeat, the greatest defeat, is usually not a physical injury. We can heal from physical things. When we lose an arm or a leg, we have so many blessings on this earth that can replace those things or teach us different ways on how to function so that we can continue to move on. The greatest pain is taking that tornado that hit your life. Okay? Let's take my example. All my material things were gone. My home was gone. Animals were killed. I didn't get to keep a single pet, that I loved and cherished. It took me forever even to get my clothes, so I had things to wear. I had to start with $0. Even trying to get enough money out of the, relationship to get an apartment was a struggle. Getting food. I went through a lot. The tornado hit. It took everything. I was completely defeated. There's nothing I could do. I was lucky I escaped with my life. My life was at risk. But I did. And then there were many days after that I said, why did I survive? This life isn't worth living. I hate this. I hate everything about it. I didn't and haven't yet gotten the true justice I think I deserve. That's what I think I deserve. Doesn't mean that that is right. I had to keep hitting those walls, facing those obstacles, and being defeated time and time and time again, and asking myself, what did I do wrong? Why did I deserve this? Why do all these people hate me? What did I do to them? I had to come to the realization I didn't do anything. The tornado hit. Anyone who has a home or has seen a tornado, and I have seen one, it was unbelievable. If you ever see a tornado coming at you, happen to be, this was when I was younger, and it was coming across a field. And, I'll do a video on this because it was the most amazing thing of nature I think I've ever seen. You see this destruction coming. Prior to the tornado hitting your home where you're standing, there's no wind. There's nothing. There's this peace, this still in the air. But you see this thing coming and it's massive, and you can see things shooting out of it like trees, and what I'm assuming that's what they were. But you're watching this going, this is utterly amazing. And it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and you have to run for shelter eventually. And then you hear it hit, or, in my case, we were very blessed. It went up, missed the house, and came back down. There's hardly an explanation except, nature can explain it, and I will in the video, but when a tornado is coming at you, you're not going to stop it. It's there. And it's this thing that you can't believe is coming. You see all the destruction. You can't stop it, but you're like, wow. You're just so wowed with it. And then it happens, and then you have to rebuild from that, with everything being gone. And when I look at my life, I say, why did I survive? What is the point of all this? I'm too old. This is too hard. I can't do this again. I'm not in my 20s, where working 3 jobs was okay. Well, if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. It's survival. I had to find the warrior inside of myself and keep fighting. I say God removed everything from my life so I could see what was real. I knew what was real. I knew what was fake. I knew what was important. I knew what wasn't. But until all of that material stuff and the temptations and the wants and the desires were removed from me, I couldn't see any of that. I was blind to it. I was walking on a path, seeing just what was around me, and completely missing something really beautiful. So God took that. He removed everything from my life to lift me up. A true warrior has gone through that pain, that loss, and they've used it to empower themselves and others. They're not just a warrior doesn't empower themselves. They're out there empowering others. They're showing others how to better themselves, how to take their experiences and turn them into something good. Part of what I'm doing with this whole channel, it's all about empowering yourself through tragedy. Taking PTSD, making it work for you, not letting it work against you. And some of these people, for example, in the military that have gone through great trauma and have PTSD, you'd say they're warriors, right? Because they went out and they fought a battle. Oh, they haven't won their war yet. They're still warriors fighting on the daily, every day, every morning, noon, night. They're still fighting some type of war. Maybe not out on that battlefield anymore. That war is within you, okay? It's within all of us. There's a personal war going on that you try to avoid every single day because we tend to live on the outside of our shell, our surface. Very seldom do we want to dig deep and go inside and really find out what's in there. You open that Pandora's box, what's inside of you, you're in for a world of hurt. That's where the real fight starts. And ask anyone with a mental illness, they're halfway there. They've been fighting it. They don't know what to do next, and they don't know how to continue to fight it. And I know I've been through it. Your training, my training, began when I decided to stand alone. I decided to seclude myself, be by myself, not let all the outside influences fill my mind. Instead, I let my mind go deep within me. Boy, did I find a lot of things that there were several days I wanted to give up. Suicide became almost a daily thought. And that fight, that pain inside of me that I had to fight for hours and hours and hours and go, no, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. In buckets of tears. It was not easy, and I had to do it. I did it alone. You don't have to do it alone. Okay, I'm saying you don't have to. There's plenty of help. But I fought that battle alone. And I learned how to stand alone. I learned it's okay to be alone. I learned that what's in my soul, because I had to find my soul, I had to move past the mind and the thoughts. I had to move past the way my heart felt. And I had to dig deep and I had to find my soul. That's when the real pain started. is when you hit your soul, it starts reminding you of all of this stuff. The whole reason that you walk away from your soul, the whole reason you can't face it. And it's not just the bad things that happen to you, it's the bad things you've done to others. And you got to start facing that stuff. You got to go, oh, I don't want to, no, I'm not going to look, I'm not going to look, I'm going to shut that door. Do not shut that door. You're a coward if you do. Walking through that door and facing that stuff inside of you, digging deep into your soul, that's where the battle starts. The training starts. The war starts. And you start learning that all of these things that you're so headstrong about, you maybe had no right to even put out there. You start realizing that, oh, there's 2 sides to everything. Oh, sometimes there's 4 sides to everything. Oh, maybe I was not this great person I thought I was. And that is the hardest pill to swallow. When you can face yourself, when you can face your truth. And sometimes you'll want to see it in others. Being a true warrior in the outside world isn't always about fighting the battle. It's about listening. Listen. Take in what's around you. Be quiet. Sit in that moment. Don't just get up and draw your sword. Then sit back and reflect on it and go, okay, all those things that I heard, all those things I took in, what is one thing that maybe I should contemplate a little deeper? Doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily change your mind or your stance on any position, but you're at least trying to see something from somebody else's perspective. You're trying to put yourself in their shoes. You're trying to realize that their life path has taken them to a different place than it's taken you in your life path. So realize that those circumstances and those things that have happened to that person have given them the foresight to think the way they do. So what have they gone through that you haven't, that maybe you could put in your toolbox to learn from, so that both of your paths can be conjoined and not separated? Then we can build a greater army of all of these different experiences and perceptions. And we can become whole, we can become one, we can become united. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what a warrior does. They try to bring that kind of peace. But the fight really is inside yourself, knowing your truth, saying what really is justice, and where have I been vengeance, or where has vengeance happened to me, and how could I learn from that so that I don't do that to others. A true warrior is somebody who's inspirational. Fighting is not inspirational. When people fight, or they're raising their voice, or they're using their fists, we tend to want to step back and go, whoa, not get involved. Don't want to be part of that. That is not inspirational. It should only be a last resort. A true warrior is inspirational. They show you, and they themselves remove the obstacles that were blinding them to the truth. In my case, God had to remove basically my entire life so I could see the truth. I was so blinded by everything around me. I was living this surface life that I knew nothing of the truth. And I learned I was my worst enemy. My enemies weren't even the people trying to kill me. I was my worst enemy. I hurt myself the worst. And I couldn't see that until I found my soul. A true warrior knows they are also their own worst enemy, and they will fight the battles within themselves 10 times harder than they'll fight the battles in the outside world. But by doing that, they become a better person, they become a better role model, they become inspirational, and we can start following them when we're lost, when we're blinded, when we think, well, maybe we've got it all together, but we don't. That doesn't mean you're necessarily a leader. A good leader was once a great follower, but they didn't just follow whimsically. They followed and they thought. And they still made the decisions that were right for them, even though sometimes it was against the group. They still were determined to do what was right. So they didn't necessarily just follow the leader off the cliff. If they were like, this is stupid, I'm not doing this part, and they came up with 100 reasons why that wasn't right for them, they were able to step away from the pack and stand alone. I'm telling you, anyone who has ever stepped away from a group of people or against something or walked away from a job because they didn't believe that there was ethically what they were doing was right or something like that, or a whistleblower or what have you, that person stood alone. And that entire pack of people will come after you. And you're alone. That's a warrior. That is somebody who has reflected deep within themselves and says, no, I will not go along with this. Even if it costs me, I will stand alone. And I will fight for what's right. And fighting doesn't mean that they went and hurt somebody. But they, every day, had to fight. And they fought. Trying to be as peaceful as possible. Those people that get pointed out as, oh, you ratted out this group, you did this, you did that, and then people go, try to hurt them. Those are your warriors. Those are the people to admire because they were willing to stand alone for what was right against everybody. They're inspirational because it's really hard to do. It's a very hard thing to do. The other thing that they do, they remove their own desires for what they want. People that are in packs doing wrong things. Let's take, for example, something that's been in the news not that long ago was pedophile rings. Okay, and some people stand out against it and leave their group, and then they end up getting killed or what have you, right? Well, those people, even though at one point their desire was to be helpful or to, they thought they were doing something good or they were trying to gain power or, whatever reason that they were in this, doing this, suddenly they removed their desire for what they wanted, for example, power or money or what have you. When they removed their desire and they realized the wrong of everything, they were able to step out and stand alone, life or death. Those are your warriors. But your warrior says, there can't be anything in it for me. I need to remove my personal agenda, and I need to do what's right. Outside and inside of ourselves, I need to do what's right. This can't be personal. It can't be about what am I going to get out of it? What am I going to gain? Or even if you're doing it just for survival. They take away their personal agenda, even of survival, and they do what's right. They live by truth. And in some cases, they become a better person than they were before, or they teach people how to be better people. They also learn how to teach people that life isn't a handout, it's a hand up. And they help them find their soul as well. So some people don't have to go through that struggle alone. They're there for them to help them during those really tough, terrible moments that they're digging through their soul and they're finding themselves. Again, because we follow the leader so often, we forget who we even are. We become somebody we never intended to be. A true warrior goes back and says, wait a second, this isn't who I am. I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to find out who I was. I'm going to go back to that place, and I'm going to become the person I was meant to be. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to find that unique side of me that I was born with, that is my God-given gift. And I'm going to follow that even if I have to do it alone. And they teach others how to do that. They're motivating. A true warrior is going to take that pain and that tragedy and that emptiness and that loneliness, and they're going to use it to motivate. They're more driven to see others succeed than themselves. They want a better world. They want roses and rainbows, though that's not what our world is like. But they're going to take the bad, and they're going to help you show you how to turn it into something good. Same way God does. They also know it's not about all the compliments and the glory and, like taking a hero. They're not saving somebody's life or doing something brave because they want the glory. They're doing it because they jumped into a situation to do what was right, to help others. And no personal agenda. Their life didn't matter. Okay? Those are warriors. They always face the dark side of themselves, and they come out into the light. And I'll tell you what, and you want to see how dark can get? Your eyes cannot see how dark can get till you've gone to the depth of your soul and you see how dark your own soul is. You might think you're a good person. I assure you, you get to the core of your soul, you're going to see how god-awful terrible you are. We all are. Plain and simple, until we face it. You are never going to be able to be a good person. Not truly. Surface coating on the outside, what you give, what you say, what you do. Anyone can look good. Doesn't mean you're good deep down in your soul. That's all fake. We live in such a fake world. It's sickening, in all honesty. A true warrior is somebody who is compassionate, loving, and kind. Above all, they're one that can take hate, things that they feel that they hate, and they can walk into that with compassion. And they're kind and they're loving about it. Though I'm to tell you, that's a struggle. That is not an easy thing for a warrior to do. Say, I hate this situation, but I'm going to love it. I'm going to be kind to these bad people. I'm going to show compassion. And just maybe a sliver of that will wipe off onto one of them. And they will start fighting the battle within themselves and learn how to stand alone as well. So a warrior knows, even if there's just one soul to be saved, they'll risk it all to save them. That's Jesus. Right? Okay? Jesus was a true warrior. I'm telling you. No doubt about it. I often see people share political things, religious things. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not religious, but I follow the Bible. I love the Bible. I try to follow the Bible. I'm not pure. I wouldn't even say I'm a good person. I wouldn't even say I'm a decent person in all reality. But I do the best I can to take what God is telling me through the Bible and try to apply it to my life so something good can come out of this rotten life I've lived, okay? I would rather see people share the Word of God more than we do our politics and different religious ways. It's a book. Read the book. There's so many amazing, great things in there about being graceful and merciful. God has done that for us, and we need to do it for each other. True warrior knows that. It's not about what's been given to you. It's about what the grace and mercy you give to others. A true warrior knows the truth, and they will be the truth. Again, they will stand on their own. They don't necessarily need an army of people around them. They will fight the battle within and on the outside if they have to. Ultimately, being a true warrior starts with fighting the war inside yourself. And a lot of people are going to go, well, I have no war inside myself. I'm fine. I know what I believe in. I'm going to go my own way. You haven't even begun life yet, if that's what you think. True life is about going inside of you. Go deep, go inside of you. Fight against yourself once. You want to know a battle that's hard to win? You're going to have a heck of a time convincing yourself on both sides of yourself which part of you is right and which part of you is wrong. Enough to drive you crazy. But you can figure it out. When you have won the war, to learn how to compromise with your own self, that's when you can go out and do that with others. Don't be so headstrong to think that there's nothing wrong inside of you. Because there is. Every one of us, vast majority of us, haven't reached the dark side of our soul. I encourage you to do so. Because you want to talk about scary? Scariest thing you're ever going to confront is yourself. You don't have an enemy out there in this world that is more dangerous than you are to you. You are your worst enemy. I know. I'm my own. A true warrior often asks themselves, does it really matter what others say and think? And does everybody always have to agree with me? They know none of those things are true. It does not matter what other people think. They care about truth more than they care about people's agendas. Be a warrior. Fight the battle within yourself so that you can go out there and you can show people what being a hero really is. And being a hero is somebody that is inspirational, motivating. A true warrior doesn't need to be a leader. Very seldom are your warriors and your heroes leaders. Very seldom. Majority of the time, they're just people standing in the background. And I often say, for myself, the one thing I have learned through all of this, especially with God and the Bible, is I can stand alone. I don't care what other people think. I've learned I don't have to have other people in my life even. But I'm really never alone. Just because I can't see things doesn't mean they don't exist. We can't necessarily see our soul, but we know we have one. I always say, when I'm in warrior mode and I'm standing alone, I know being a Christian and following the Bible and allowing Jesus to be my Savior, accepting that great gift, which I don't deserve. I struggle every day with going, I don't deserve that. How can he possibly give it? But he did. That I know I'm not alone when I'm standing alone. The guy behind me, I know there's a guy behind me that's got my back. Oh yeah, God's there. He says, don't even turn around and look. Because if you have to turn around and look, you doubt me. I need you to have faith to know I'm back here. So I don't have to turn around and look. He's there. My peripheral vision, I don't have to worry about what's on my sides. He's got his army of angels flanking me. They're right there. And even though it appears that I come in on my own, chariot and all, I don't. Because what came in front of me was his army of angels. They cleared the path so I could get through. They fought the true battle to get me out there. Just getting me in this little ring of fire that they have protecting me was God's battle alone, saying, I have to remove your life from you to put you in this place. And now we're going to move forward with you in the center, and you know you are always protected. Now, does that mean I am physically protected at all times? Like, oh, I'm never going to die? Absolutely not. My time will come when God says so, not when I say so. So it's being able to trust that in the times I need to be a warrior and I need to stand alone and I need to fight the battles even within me, God's got me surrounded and protected. And we're going to win. Maybe not the battles. We're going to win the war. In the end, we win the war. That's the only battle that matters. The rest of them are child's play, even though it feels like us, like it's life and death. It's not. Okay, my phrase from the Bible, because I've preached enough, is from Isaiah chapter 42, verse 13. The Lord will go forth like a warrior. He will arouse his zeal like a man of war. He will utter a shout, yes. He will raise a war cry. He will prevail against his enemies. Just like the Lord, go forth like a warrior. Arouse your zeal and your passion for what's right, good, and just. Be a man of war just because they refer to men often in the Bible does not mean women do not apply. And utter with a shout your yes, even if you are standing alone. Say, go me. And that's my favorite phrase. When life is crapping all over me, I'm like, go me. Because it means, okay, here we go. Here's the next battle. Let's win it. So when bad things happen, I go, awesome, bring it on. Let's go. We're at war now. And it's usually just winning the war within me to find the goodness in it. Okay? Not that I'm battling other people. And he will raise a war cry and prevail against his enemies. Stay true to yourself. Fight the darkness in your soul. If you need a friend, I'm here. I know I spent 365 days living in that hell. I don't regret it. And I don't even blame God for taking that whole life away from me, because you know what? It was a good thing. I live a simple life that I truly am more peaceful and happy with now than I ever was living that material life. And had God not allowed that to happen to me, I wouldn't know what I know now. I wouldn't be who I am now. I'm not the best person, but I'm a better person than I was. God knows what he's doing, even in tragedy, in great tragedy. What we think should never happen and is wrong, God will make it right in his way, in his time. and it'll be amazing. Just try to believe, have faith, and let go of the control. We can't control everything. We have to trust, oftentimes in things we can't see. And then the most amazing miracles come. All right. Love you all. Take care of each other. Remember you're human. But be kind. Please be kind and be that warrior. Just because you're not put in a situation where you have to save lives from people from burning buildings and stuff like that. A warrior is a hero. Somebody who's willing to stand alone against the pack, to make a difference, and to do the right thing. Sometimes that's the hardest thing you're ever going to have to do. And it's worth more than you can imagine. Be a warrior. Don't physically fight. Use peace as your weapon. Okay, love y'all.